Oh, yeah, that's it, that's it, that's it. That's it, baby. Hey, Mom, what your mama gonna say? She finally let you party like this guy.
Does anyone wanna go waltzing in the garden? Does anyone wanna go dance up on the roof? Does anyone wanna go waltzing in the garden? Does anyone wanna go dance up on the roof? Does anyone wanna go waltzing in the garden? Does anyone wanna go dance up on the roof? Does anyone wanna go waltzing in the garden? Does anyone wanna go dance up on the roof? On the time, sequence evening down. Climb those stairs, do that ballroom in the air. Get the poppin'. Does anyone wanna go waltzing in the garden? Does anyone wanna go dance up on the roof? Does anyone wanna go waltzing in the garden? Does anyone wanna go dance up on the roof? Come on up and get it on. Does anyone wanna go waltzing in the garden? Does anyone wanna go dance up on the roof?
If you dare, dream of yesteryear. In the air, do a step with breath, a step, get your pop out.
Does anyone wanna go waltzing in the garden? Does anyone wanna go dance up on the roof?
So the
Does anyone wanna go waltzing in the garden? Does anyone wanna go dance up on the roof?
no one stays in downtown these days. Country call, got us work and lost. Oh, weekend, let me recommend what to do when your heart is light or blue. You get to step in.
Does anyone wanna go waltzing in the garden? Does anyone wanna go dance up on the roof?
Dee-doo-doo-dee-dee. Friends, come on. Let's party, y'all. Come, let's party. Say let's party, y'all. Come, let's party.
ready to party now. I ain't never been in a cooler on a water bus at that set. Oh, skid your time.
Mercy. This is the Tanya Free and Friends Talk Show, your destination for the best in social and political straight talk. And now, here's your host, Miss Tanya Free.
Today is Wednesday, June 13th. Welcome to the Tanya Free and Friends Talk Show. I am Tanya Free, joined by my wonderful friends, Dr. Ellis Henderson. How are you, friend?
I'm well. How are you? Good to be back.
I'm doing good. Thank you for being here. And also with us is Van Nevels. How are you, friend?
Good afternoon. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm not going to complain about anything.
You look lovely, by the way. You look marvelous.
Oh, that means you got some trouble coming with that.
No,
yeah.
Trouble
yeah.
is automatic.
That's
you do look
warning.
exceptionally good today. Okay. So take the compliment.
I take that as an insult. Exceptionally good. I take that as an insult. Like I don't. Okay. All right. We'll let that go for now.
Why are you causing problems? Pretty troll.
And also with us is Frida Johnson. How are you, friend?
I am well. Glad to be here again.
Well, thank you all for being here and the same crew, so y'all can behave yourselves.
That's why we're here.
Oh my goodness.
Always.
Okay. All right. Okay.
I'm the good girl.
Oh, you're the good. Oh my goodness.
You better watch. That's the
That's
ring
what you
leader.
gotta watch.
Yeah,
That's the one you gotta watch.
absolutely, absolutely. And also behind the scenes is Niles Johnson, Marcus Evans, and Noah Johnson, and our intern Sterling Goodnight. How are you, friend?
I'm doing good.
Well, we're doing good. You want to say hello to your grandma?
Well, yeah, I want to shout Miss Rosemary Morris out.
Hey, Grandma. Thank you for listening. We want to thank all of our listening friends that are listening from coast to coast. Hope that you will give us a call and join the conversation. We want to hear what you have to say. Phone lines are open, 804-321-1010. Our toll-free number, 844-321-1010. Or you can text us at Tanya Free 63975 to weigh in. Or if you want to listen to us on your mobile phone, you can dial 712-832-2784. Thanks to our friends at AM/FM 247. Let's get this out the way. Talk about the summit that took place on Tuesday with 45 and Kim Jong-un. It's a lot of media hoopla, in my opinion. What did you all think about that? No, let me see. Van.
So I was waiting for him to go first.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
He's given
much to say?
an air. I'm trying to put it together for you.
Go ahead.
So be patient, please.
Mm-hmm.
I'm new here. First of all, Trump has given some sort of legit credibility, if that's possible, with him associated, to this despot. You know, you show up with, again, no preconditions and all of this, but you somehow make it not quite as bad as it is, the situation that he has his people in, period. And that's the reason no one of any stature, besides Dennis Rodman, has shown up in person and to be photographed and all of this with this guy. This, whatever it was that they signed was some, well, we're going to do it at some point eventually. Well, we have it right there on paper. At some point eventually. Stay tuned. The meeting that they had, there was nothing close to what could be called a stenographer. So whatever was talked about cannot, since it wasn't recorded, can't then therefore come back and say, well, we said X, Y, and Z, and we're going to do this. Well, you agreed to A, B, and C. That didn't include that. So you can't hold anybody accountable. So it was a friggin' circus, and that's the end of it.
Absolutely.
And that's the whole point of it. More than that, Kim Jong-un is going to end up getting more out of it as far as face is concerned before his own people, because those are the ones that he has any real, that he's trying to impress.
Exactly.
Everyone else is sitting around going, why are you doing this? Towards what end? Period. And now Trump is going to talk about we're going to stop doing the war games. Well, they're not war games because that's a bad word. They're military exercises. A lot like military intelligence, which is, that misnomer, which would then starts the ball rolling towards removing all the troops that are in South Korea at some point if denuclearization happens. But in doing so, you have now reduced or given away all the United States influence in that region of the world.
So you think denuclearization will actually happen?
Under the right circumstances, but like Madeleine Albright said, if you don't have nuclear weapons, you need to get them.
Okay.
Because you are at that point now you can come to the table with the big boys because that's what is the difference between a real country and somebody who gets pushed around.
Frida?
First of all, I want to say, when you talk about 45, he fights with his allies, and he praises a dictator
Right.
that's committed atrocities against his own people.
Exactly.
And if he really thinks that Kim Jong-un is going to get rid of his nuclear weapons, I have some swampland. And you know, it's already been said, he's completed his testing. So, you know, he's not going to do that, and absolutely nothing of substance came out of the meeting.
Did you all see the
And
video that the White
45
House
is
made?
a clown.
Can
Right.
I interject?
Go ahead.
One, I think it was a high-class photo op for both of them.
That's all it was.
Number
That's all
two,
it
I
was.
think the meeting was designed to basically upset China because China was worried about North Korea and the United States meeting at all. And I'm not sure as a country we have any right to speak on the atrocities or what Kim Jong-un has done to his people until we have first address what America has historically done to its own people.
Well, I agree with you with that statement, but the prior one, I don't think China is upset at all. I think that China and Kim Jong-un are all on the same page, and they are playing 45 like a fiddle.
Well, and that could be true, but clearly, if North Korea does decide to give up its nuclear weapons, which I don't think is going to be
That's
the
not gonna
case,
happen.
I think for one, they may give them up, but China has them anyway, so they're in China's back pocket. But if any way that America and North Korea can establish any kind of economic relationship in terms of bringing factories and jobs over to North Korea, it does upset China. And I think that's a possible opportunity. That North Korea could be a place to take over.
I don't even
business.
see that
Yeah, me either.
close to happening
It's possible. I mean, 'cause we have companies in Vietnam right now. And
well, so anything is possible. Let's talk about likely.
Well, we can say likelihood, but there has to be a reason why we're sitting down with this man after such a long time. I mean, it has to
Because
be some kind of end note.
like
because
you said-
Trump doesn't know how to play the game.
Well, like you said, it's a photo op for
Right.
both of them. Far as I can see from 45 standpoint, it's a campaign opportunity.
Right.
That's basically so he can say, "Oh, I've done something that no other modern president in this era has done, and it looks good." Far as that goes on a campaign trail. Far as Kim Jong-un is concerned, it looks good that his father and his grandfather weren't able to do it, and it makes him look more powerful to his people.
But that you said that weren't able to do it. Well, why weren't they able to do it? Because there was certain condition that had to be met in order for that
True.
meeting to happen.
True.
So this guy went in there and we're just going to talk now. No one's going to record it, but we're going to talk and take pictures.
And
And
I'm
all of
upset
this.
that we actually allow that to happen. I mean,
'Cause
you
Trump
don't know
got-
what he's promised or what
Trump ain't
was
promised
actually
nothing.
said,
He ain't say
and we
nothing.
won't know about it until it happened. That's where I have the problem with that, with regards to that. So
Let me say something to Ellis now. I believe in all human rights, and absolutely, we have some serious issues when it comes to atrocities of all people, but I believe in the rights of all people and how they all should be treated. And, I think everybody should be a voice. And we're known as the United States to stick our nose in everybody else's business.
I believe the United States pretty much sets the standards on human atrocities.
And that was the way I was leaning towards.
I mean, for real, y'all. Yes, Hitler did X, Y, and Z. How many people were killed when we dropped not one but 2 nuclear devices, on Japan? We don't even have to go back anywhere. We don't even have to go past 1920 with this.
And also, we don't. I mean, how many times have our troops and our Green Beret, our Secret Service, been sending countries to assassinate anybody? And then furthermore, I mean,
There was a book.
I don't know anybody from North Korea, and so I don't know what's been taking place. I've seen pictures and videos, and I'm like, that could look like Mississippi. That could look like Louisiana. That could look like a rural area of this country.
Puerto Rico.
That could look like
Puerto
Flint,
Rico,
Michigan.
Yeah.
Puerto Rico. And so we spend a lot of time, condemning what they're doing and not doing, and oftentimes we gloss over what we are doing.
Wait a minute. Didn't the
Well,
United States just bomb Syria over some gas attack, but yet and still the folks that are protesting this pipeline, weren't they gassed by the not by the military but by police?
They were, yes.
Okay, so
Yes.
yeah.
Well, I guess the best way to wrap this up is to say stay tuned. Stay tuned. That's all I can say. Stay tuned because this.
But if I could
it's
say
gonna lead to
one thing
something.
that Trump has done, he has completely changed up the presidential game and how things are done. And I'm amazed no one checks him, no one says anything. He pretty much is doing what he wants to do, how he wants to do it, and no one is upset he has no advisors.
I knew that coming in.
Exactly.
I knew that
I was
coming
shocked
in,
by
and,
that.
and folks didn't think that was going to happen. I did. I mean, the way he was running his campaign, the fact that he was able to say, I can, kill somebody and still be elected.
Yeah, shoot
that
somebody
right
on Fifth
there,
Avenue.
that right there was a sign that, he is going to do just what the heck he wants to do, and nobody's going to
I
say
was
anything.
shocked by
Better
Well,
than that,
and
when he
because of
said
that-
John McCain was a loser because he got captured.
Well-
or he wasn't a hero.
Yes.
Really,
no
y'all?
heroes get captured.
And the Republicans were like, well,
Yeah,
that's
no one
Well,
says
my
anything.
thing is this.
something to that, I guess.
Because we have allowed him to do what the heck he wants to do, we're going to suffer the consequences of this
Without a doubt.
later on. We're going to suffer the consequences, and the fact that he's undoing almost everything that President Obama has put in place. President Obama put stuff in place,
And not just Obama, he's
because
done
we were the country was going to hell in a handbasket, if I can say. And President Obama brought it back. Now he's undone everything. So what does that mean? We're going backwards, and then have no solutions.
I mean, he has undone what previous presidents have done, 40, 50 years ago.
In policy alone.
In
No,
policy
I mean,
alone.
well, not really policy so much as it is protocol.
In
This is how you're
protocol,
supposed to do
practice,
stuff.
so it goes
Well-
further than 8, 9 years. He's
Then what
undoing
is
a
the
whole
purpose?
lot.
What is the purpose of Congress? If
To
they
have to be a check upon the president. However, this is
And
a
that is not happening.
perfect storm to where this guy can do whatever he wants. Congress is pretty much impotent because they want to keep their jobs. Bottom line.
Well, shame on us if we allow that to happen, especially the Democratic Party. I say that from the standpoint that they should be yelling and screaming about everything that is going on, and I honestly have not heard or seen that happen in the media or their voices. Have you all, or am I missing
their
something?
voice comes out when it's a Me Too situation. Their voice comes out when it's something pertaining to Trump, but their voice is silent when it comes to things pertaining to the everyday life of people. Like, where's the fury about the gas going up? Where's the fury
Right,
about
exactly.
of teachers,
Insurance,
and
right,
these teachers,
pay, yes.
boycotting and certain school districts for pay? I mean, where is the Democratic voice? The Democrats are so quick to shame everybody, and while the government, the GOP, they govern with shame, but the GOP, they just shame everyone and they don't govern at all. It's just ridiculous.
Well, we need another party. I honestly believe we need another party. No question about it. For the mere fact that
No, we don't. No, the United
Yes,
States doesn't need
this
another
is
party.
that-
Well,
Revamp.
Democrats need to
Yeah.
stop not playing. Need to stop not playing fair. Need to stop playing for.
But
fair.
they're not playing fair.
No, their whole
They're just-
thing is
they're
we're gonna
getting
be
beat at their
quiet
own
and that
game.
Sort of thing, and that now it's time to put up.
Well,
Period.
the problem I have with that is they get reelected and they do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem I'm talking about. That's why I say we need another party.
I agree.
Because folks stay in office forever and a day.
We need term limits.
Right.
Exactly.
Need
That's
term
what I
limits.
was
Right.
We
We
need
need
term
term
limits.
but in order to get that to
Exactly.
happen, you got to get the folks that are unlimited terms to agree.
Right.
Well, let's talk about a couple other things because I want to move on from politics. I mean, my head just explodes just to watch the news and see all that's going on. The Supreme Court sided with the Ohio can purge voter rolls, and that is a big problem for the mere fact that if you have not voted in the last 2 federal elections, you may be dropped from the roll.
That's completely voter suppression because it is my.
Oh,
it is,
no question
It is
about
my
that.
constitutionally given right to be able to vote, to exercise that or not.
Exactly.
I was
Period.
shocked that was passed. I was almost like in awe, like, oh my God, that's unbelievable.
And the other case that we should be concerned about, the cake case where the individual, the baker, did not want to bake or sell a cake to a gay couple. The Supreme Court held that case as well, that he didn't have to. So these things that are happening, that a lot of times the media will mention, but I think more attention need to be paid to these types of cases because it affects us.
Well, let me ask you this. and I don't know the situation around that, I heard about that, but if someone walks into your establishment and they're not exhibiting a proper attitude or behavior or decorum, so do we not have a right not to service them?
That's not the question here.
Wait, I'm going somewhere. Hold on a sec. Because oftentimes you look in these stores, individual African American males walk into the stores, or like what happened with Starbucks. The lady, I guess, didn't want to serve, and called the police on and so forth. But I'm like, at what point does the private sector be held to some level of accountability? If I'm making sense.
Well, this particular case was.
Homosexual, the last minority is okay to discriminate
This particular case was regarding his faith, based on his religious beliefs, that he did not want.
I thought they got into an argument of some sort,
No,
and that's what happened.
No,
it went to the Supreme Court. This wasn't get out my store.
No, this wasn't a Starbucks situation. This was because of his belief that he felt that he didn't have to or didn't want to bake a cake for this gay couple, from my understanding.
See, I saw him on The View, and what he was saying was that, because I think they had asked him, did he know that they were gay? And he said yes, because they wanted 2 males on top of the cake.
Right.
And so I thought initially that they had came into the store, and he refused. But he said over the telephone he decided not to because he couldn't.
Well, even if they had come into the store and asked for the cake, what's the problem?
I mean,
that's just like saying if you come into the store and somebody said, "Oh, I'm not going to bake you a cake because you're black," then what?
It has happened.
Yes, but that's still discrimination.
It is discrimination. You're right. It is discrimination.
If you're gay, don't you think that's discrimination as well? Because you have as far as I'm concerned, it's none of your business what somebody do in their bedroom.
Yeah, but I'm not gay, and
he always throwing out their disclaimer whenever the subject is even touched.
I mean, I do have a concern with discrimination.
You should.
But at the same time, I guess I wasn't privy to all the facts. When I saw the gentleman on The View and what he was saying as a believer, as a Christian, so he was taking a position, I'm a Christian and I don't believe in homosexuality. And now I guess I was just like, I was kind of shocked by all that took place.
Well, but my thing is this: when you're open for business, I feel when you're open for business, you're open for business, right? You should be serving everybody. Let's talk about this a little bit more after the break. Today's praise break is "Change Me" by Tamla Mann, sponsored by the Metropolitan Day School, where Eagles soar.
Change me, oh God. Wash me through and through. Create in me a clean heart, so that worship you. Change me, oh God. Make me more like you. Change me, oh God. Wash me through and through. Just create in me a clean heart, so that I may worship you. I need you to change me. Jesus, change me. Like only you can, Lord, change me. Is anybody out there need the Lord to change something about you? Change me. Whatever's not like you, Lord, I want you to change me. Do it for me, Lord. I like only you can, Lord. Change me. Change me. Can y'all help me say it? It's easy. I need you to. Oh, come on. Say it like you mean it. Change me. Whatever's not like you, Lord, I want you to. From the inside out, Lord. Oh, a little change. I need you to change me. Or you can say it, change me.
Put your business on the map for a lot less than you might think with Freedom Marketing. Text the word advertise to 63975 or give them a call at 844-321-1010. That's Freedom Marketing, 844-321-1010.
This is Tanya Free, inviting you to check out the Tanya Free and Friends Talk Show, your destination for the best in social and political straight talk, here coast to coast on the AM/FM 247 radio network and the AM/FM 247 television network. Join the conversation.
The Tanya Free and Friends Talk Show, Wednesdays.
The New Orleans Talk Network, now on your mobile device, on your computer, in your ear, and interactive. It's new, it's innovative, and it's on your mobile device. Android, iPhone, iPad, and on your computer. Take us wherever you go. Because we're interactive. 504-341-TALK. That's 504-341-8255.
One step until you reach higher ground. Let nobody turn you around. Step on up, you can clear the higher star. Straight ahead, it's not very far. Yeah. Keep on. Keep on. With the strength of your mind, you can be set free. You can overcome your past. Search deep inside, and you will see. Time has come at last. Keep on.
Join the conversation. Phone lines are open right now at area code 804-321-1010 in Central Virginia and 844-321-1010 coast to coast.
Until you touch the sky.
We were just talking about the case. You were looking up the actual numbers was what the vote was 7-2. 7-2.
And the two
I thought
liberals.
it was 5-4.
Yeah, the two liberals would typically vote on liberal policies was Stephen Breyer and Elena Kagan. They voted in favor of the conservatives on this
I'm
topic.
surprised at that. I am really surprised at that.
Yeah, seriously.
Well, but see, these are the kinds of things we need to pay attention to, opposed to all of that rhetoric that we constantly hear on the news about 45. Because that's, in my opinion, just a mere distraction. That's all it is. That's all it is a mere distraction. We can be losing our voting rights, and, as to where we can go. I mean, this is really, really very serious, and we gotta really pay attention. And I think if we don't pay close enough attention, I think he may be reelected. I mean, really, looking at all the stuff that he's doing with what's the woman?
Because Mueller's
Alice.
not going to indict him. That's for sure.
Why?
He doesn't have anything on Trump. He has everything on everybody around
No, he
Trump.
doesn't have anything necessarily on Trump, but he has some stuff on some people who can drop dime on him.
But that's not
That
going
ain't
to happen
happening. I don't think it's
because
gonna
Trump has
happen
already
either.
said I will pardon myself, and no one
Right.
said anything.
And the fact that he
That-
said
that
that
no one
tells
said
me
anything,
the fact that he
they may be
said that
compelled.
the fact that he
I think-
said that is something is out there, and he is laying the groundwork now. All the stuff that he's doing, far as this summit, pardoning what's the woman's name, Alice Marie Johnson, with Kim Kardashian.
And Jack Brown.
He is campaigning. That is what he is doing.
Pardoning
Freedom?
Jack Brown. Isn't that the guy at the box's name?
I don't know what.
Jack Johnson. That's right, Jack Johnson. Pardon
I
him.
think Paul Ryan said he has the authority to pardon everybody. One person he shouldn't pardon is himself. And I was shocked that he said that.
I want to say that the Constitution, or I want to say that there's something that goes towards you can't pardon yourself, and you can't pardon anybody who is being investigated or is found guilty of something that involves you.
Well, I think he also pardoned Ray Gibson and Claude Banks from life.
Okay.
Remember those two African American? Remember on Life the movie? It was Eddie Murphy and Martin Lawrence. It was Ray Gibson and Claude Banks who got. I think Trump has also pardoned them as well.
Okay.
I didn't even see that.
You didn't see that?
Now that I see the stop. Just stop.
So I'm going to look that up when I leave.
Is that okay? Is doing so meaning sending the signal? Yeah. Well, you can go ahead and get convicted and not drop down on me, but I'll pardon you.
But
That's what the thought is.
Like Dr. Henderson said, he's doing just what the heck he wants to do, making up rules, breaking rules. It doesn't matter, and we are going to suffer the
But you know what's
consequences.
also shocking? You don't hear Democrats even come out against him when he's saying or doing these things.
That's what I said earlier.
It's
That's
like
what I said
it's like
earlier.
they have become complacent, or they too are part of the shakeup. You know, it's like they're part of the caper. They have to be a part of the caper somehow.
My problem is this: we're coming up on midterms, and I'm having a hard time. I got to go to the polls, and the choices. I mean, I don't know.
No, the choice is simple. Are they more likely to
I know
support
the
Trump?
choice is simple, but it's still hard for the
Or
mere
are they
fact
least
that
likely?
for the mere fact that you nothing's changed, nothing's happening. You go to the poll, you vote, and same old, same old. That's the question. That's why I said we need another party, or some kind of way we need to hold the folks that are supposed to be representing us accountable. How do we do that? That's the question.
That's what I was getting ready to ask.
That's the question.
I
How do we change things?
I think our system, our democratic system, electoral system in America is so corrupt that even a good man will become corrupt in the system. Because typically these individuals start out, they're going to do X, Y, and Z. They get to Washington, everything changes. And so I love the democracy that we have, but I think the system is so flawed because of the lobbyists and everything else that's taking place.
You're right.
The only way that there has to be term limits.
You're right.
It has to be a constitutional amendment on term limits.
The system is so flawed because you don't get a receipt for voting.
Good point.
Okay.
Never thought of that.
Yeah,
Hadn't known
that's
that
what's
either.
true.
I never thought of
Okay.
that.
Well,
Okay.
But you do get a sticker though.
Let me cliff notes it for you. Every transaction you do in life, you get a receipt. The single most important transaction you do civically in your life is to vote, but you get no receipt for
But the
that.
sticker is a receipt.
No, it ain't.
It should be.
It
It's
is not.
Because you don't get
I was really about to argue with him.
know,
over
really.
it.
But you don't get one if you don't vote. Having that sticker is major. It says it's your receipt that I voted.
No, it ain't. I need something
No,
with
no,
I need
play.
something with
He-
some numbers
he-
on it, and a barcode that can scan it. How are you going to do a recount if there's nothing
Okay.
to recount?
Like yesterday, I'm
The sticker.
always checking my number when I vote, and I was distracted yesterday because the lady said, "Oh, when you're done, your sticker is right there." So
See, that's a receipt. I'm just trying to say.
Well, let's talk
It's
about
not
one
a
other thing. Net neutrality has been repealed, and it went into effect on Monday. And if we all, that was a fight, and President Obama put that in place so that we all would have access to the internet on on an equal basis.
Mm-hmm.
Now, with that being repealed, the internet service, they're going to have a field day. You know, I'm talking about Comcast, Verizon, AT&T. Now they will be able to censor, charge, how fast, how slow. It's going to be real interesting. Now, you know, I don't know about you all,
Well,
but
they already charge
my
them
internet
fast.
has already started to slow down.
Mine
And
too.
I
Now that
refuse.
you say that,
Yeah, mine has
too.
slowed down to the point that I'm frustrated. But you know what?
Well, who do you have?
I don't care. I'm not going to talk about that.
Okay.
I don't care how much it slowed down. I am not going
I
to
have
pay.
Xfinity.
I don't say it.
With the X1 remote?
I am not going to. I refuse to pay for faster service. Honestly, I am just so tired of being pushed around and charged so much.
And fleeced.
It's just unbelievable. I mean, trying to keep up.
And I just got from my provider. I
When your
just
tax
got a
money
new.
went to design the internet to begin with.
Okay. Go ahead.
From
Frida.
my provider, I just recently got a new router, and I was supposed to have faster internet service.
Mm-hmm.
And I find myself, because, you know, I'm moving from device to device at
Right.
home, and I'm like, what's going on? I really have noticed that.
Yeah, it's slowed down tremendously, and it's by design. So now they're going to start pitching that. Okay, so your service, I'm speculating that for your service to be faster, that you know you can get faster service, but it's going to charge you a fee. You know what? They can turn it off, as far as I'm concerned. I don't care at this point. I'm serious. I get so now when it gets slow like that, I just shut it down, and I've turned the television off because I'm tired. I'm just talking about 45. I've actually picked a book, started reading.
Oh, good.
I used to read.
Pearl.
No. I mean, I used to read online, my computer, but now I am actually picking up a book and to say, okay, and just being happy with, and they're probably going to do away with books if they figure out folks going to, you know, do like I do, stop.
Have you seen that movie Fahrenheit 451 with Michael B. Jordan on HBO? It was talking about how they're trying to it was burning up all the books. And so
That's like required reading in high
yeah,
school.
it's an old movie, but you know we can kind of see that coming along around the way.
Yeah, and I just refuse. So newspaper, got a message. No, a president cannot pardon himself.
That's not true.
No,
The
a
fact
president
is,
cannot pardon himself.
President cannot pardon
well,
himself.
Thomas
he's
says
never
Trump
had
has
to pardon
done-
himself.
Okay, well I can't read. I mean, you all are going up and down. So anyway, go ahead.
No, I was saying a president never has had to pardon himself. But under this political climate, with the way Trump is operating, Trump can and probably will do what he wants to do.
You know
No,
what?
he cannot legally pardon himself.
Let me say this. I don't even want to talk about it anymore. I could care less.
Under
at
what
this point,
Constitution?
Because he's gotten away with what he's gotten away with
the
this
same
far.
one that-
This far. That let it go. Let it go.
No,
I'm not
can't
just
let
go
it
ahead.
go.
No,
Can't let it go.
Well. If our
Can't let it
congressman
go.
has let it go and they're not doing anything, let's go ahead and I think
And
you said before
the hypocrisy,
suffer
the hypocrisy and double standards is
and get it over
ridiculous.
with.
Yeah,
And
without
this
doubt.
gentleman says Trump has done what Obama didn't: make America great again. Interesting.
It's great. Okay, we'll see about that.
When exactly was America great?
We'll see
That's,
about
That's
that.
the question.
That's the question.
That's the
I'm
question.
dying to get
Yeah.
an answer for.
That's the question.
So anyway, back to the internet. Like I said, my internet service has gotten so slow that I turned the computers off and the phone just now was not working. So, you know, I'm okay because I'm not one of those persons that's hooked on my computer and phone and all of that. As far as I'm concerned, it's making us brain dead anyway. I mean, think about the last time you actually sat at your dinner table, you know, an entire family, and no one was looking on their phone.
Never,
You know,
including me.
so I am not hooked on my phone for the mere fact that I can leave the house without it.
Well, there was one specific cable
cannot.
TV provider that allowed you to
See?
turn on and off your internet to specific devices.
Do what?
You can turn on and off.
Trying to get a plug in here.
Some
I'ma
internet
start
providers.
charging you.
Some internet providers
start charging
allow you
you.
to turn devices on and off their access to the Wi-Fi network. The Wi-Fi network.
Okay,
Some of them do.
no selling.
So in other
I'm not
words,
selling anything.
we
I'm
can
selling
turn off his mic right now for
Right.
making a shameless plug.
I have mentioned no names. I merely described a wonderful feature available to certain subscribers.
Yeah, that's what we're gonna we're gonna turn your mic off.
Am I speaking in code now?
That's
Yeah.
code switching.
Okay, good segue.
Like that?
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. Who sent us that? Let me see. It was, I think it was Barry, we've asked our audience to send us suggestions for topics, and I have a whole slew of them here. And Barry sent us one that threw me, code switching. I did not know what that was. And that is when someone is changing the way they speak when they get in certain company or situations.
I'm guilty.
Okay. Well, I think most of us are. I mean, when you get to work, you may say, "Good morning, how are you?" Whereas when you come in a room with your, family or friends, it's "What up?"
What's up? Yeah. What's up? Yeah.
Wait a minute, that's a little much. That's a little much. And I didn't realize, I didn't know the name of it. You said it earlier, a different name. What did you call it?
I was told by my buddy just as recently yesterday. I just briefly sold out. So I saw my buddy AJ in the gym. I'm like, "Yo, what's up, AJ?" And I saw a guy named Jim. I'm like, "Hey, Jim, how are you?" And he was like, "What?" He said, "You just sold out real quick." I said, "No."
Why did you do that?
Honestly,
I tailored the greeting to the individual.
Did you do that naturally?
I did it without even thinking about it.
Really?
I did it without even thinking about it.
Well, why did you do that?
One, I mean, I'm versatile. I can speak different languages, number one. Number two, I didn't see...
Not language, but dialects.
Language, dialect. AJ said I went to, he said, you went to sellout language versus like, hey, AJ's like, why not greet me? He's like, "Hey, good morning, AJ. How are you doing today?" And I said, "First of all, AJ, I don't hang out with you like that. we're cooler, we're closer. With Jim, he's a casual person I see in the gym."
Is Jim white?
Does that matter?
Yes.
Does
Unfortunately,
race
yes.
matter?
Is Jim white?
Well, I'll be honest with you. Yes, he is. But when I see Mr. George, I'm like, "Hey, Mr. George, how are you doing today?"
Okay, because he's older. I'm
yes.
just asking a
yes,
question.
ma'am. Yes.
I mean, I'm saying these are some of the reasons
But
why we do
so
these things.
George is an African American man, and Jim, and I speak to them the same way. But when I see my friend O or AJ, I'm like, "Yo, what's up? What's going on? What's popping?" But when I see them, like, "Hey, how you doing today?"
And that's okay.
So
it's okay.
It's all based off generations.
But here's where issues come in. When white folks greet me like...
Oh, wait, I tell you what, hold on. We got to take a break. Be right back. Don't you say I'm crazy. White folks greet you.
And sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmony of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise
This is Tanya Free. Is your business in need of a cash infusion to help your business grow? Been told no by the banks? If you've been in business at least a year and have $10,000 in gross monthly revenue, give our friend Anthony Gibson at Fast Advance Funding a chance to say yes based on the strength of your business, not your credit history. Give Anthony a call at 215-642-0686. That's Anthony Gibson, Fast Advance Funding, 215-642-0686.
Tune into Just Jazz on Saturday nights from 9 until 11 p.m. right here on Tanya Free and Friends Radio Network. Join me, Ty Bailey, as I showcase the best in jazz, current releases, reissues, and selections from past great recordings. It's all right here on Tanya Free and Friends Radio Network at TanyaFree.com. Just Jazz is also streamed 24 hours a day at TyBailey.com.
Sponsorship and advertising for the Tanya Free and Friends talk show and the Tanya Free and Friends Radio Network is provided by Freedom Marketing Incorporated, 844-321-1010, or email us at info@TanyaFree.com for more information.
This is Tanya Free. TanyaFree.com is your destination for the best in social and political straight talk, breaking news, commentary, podcasts, music, and more. Stay in the know. Visit TanyaFree.com today.
Join the conversation. Phone lines are open right now at area code 804-321-1010 in Central Virginia and 844-321-1010 coast to coast.
The question would be, okay, let me read one of the comments that came in. Otis says they do it in the nail shop, far as
Amen,
switching.
Otis. Oh, amen.
As far as switching is concerned, you want to explain what it is he's talking about?
What Otis is talking about is, I'm assuming that when you go into the nail shop, the Vietnamese or whomever else, they would go into their native tongue to talk about you, and then you ask them what they're talking about. They say with perfect English, oh, nothing. Oh, she asked me a question. No, she didn't. She didn't ask you a question before I got in here and sat down in the seat.
Doesn't mean they're talking about you.
But if they're looking at me and laughing and joking, then I suggest...
Maybe they are talking about you.
I know someone who learned Chinese by working with Chinese people, and what goes on in a restaurant yelled out loud. If you knew what was being said, you'd be like, did they say what?
Yes.
One guy who was also a waiter.
Microphone, good brother, microphone.
Who was also at this one particular restaurant. Whenever he would get a bad tip, he would always say to the people who tipped him poorly, in your next life, I hope you come back as a black person.
Oh, my goodness.
He'd say that to him in Chinese and make it sound like he was Confucius with it. They're like, oh, that's
no, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
The fact that he said that it was supposed to be an insult.
Yes. Yeah, and
I wouldn't
No one's
ever
that
get in
fortunate.
it was going to be an insult. On top of that, the buddy of mine who was there,
Well-
he's black, and he caught it. He was like, "Are you really?
Wow.
We need to talk."
They're not as fortunate as we are.
And
in no way,
the
shape,
Chinese
or form.
people that he dealt with, and the Chinese people that he dealt with, they are racist to the third power. Have you not seen the Chinese laundry detergent ad?
Yes, I have.
You have.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we talked
So,
about that.
all right, there you go.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they're over there dressed in blackface as they perform as Whitney Houston.
Yes.
You know, they did. I saw a Chuck Brown video, and they were doing go-go.
Yep.
And everyone had the Chuck Brown. They had on blackface, and
Yeah.
I was shocked. Like, oh my God, they're even imitating go-go with
They're
blackface.
acting.
Yeah, they're
Well,
acting.
Everybody want to be a but don't nobody want to be a
Amen, good brother.
Well, thank Barry for that topic, code switching. Since you all brought up blackface, Brent brought up the fact, should African Americans, I'm sorry, that was, we're talking about blackface, I'm sorry, do blackface. This goes back to something that Drake and Push T started. And I think Drake did blackface on one of his albums or something. And Push T, the argument
Pusha
between...
T.
Okay, Pusha T, whatever it's called. I don't know. You can tell I'm showing my age. And whether or not that should be allowed. Do you think black people should do blackface?
I don't think anyone has a monopoly on what someone should and shouldn't do.
Well, considering what
That is a very
blackface stands
pragmatic
for.
answer. I
Well,
love
considering
All
what
non-committal.
blackface stand for, do you think that should be allowed?
Well,
For a black person should do blackface?
Do we want a law that says no black person should do blackface? I mean, first of all, we have to question. We're speaking about Drake. So Drake is supposedly, you know, of African descent, and therefore, if he was trying to get darker in his complexion, the only way that could be was to do blackface or to continue to use the N-word. So if that be the case, I don't have an issue with it. It's not like we're going back to Amos and Andy, how it was in the 40s and 50s. But at the same time, I think we're too sensitive as pertains to what people are trying to do with our culture and our entertainment and our heritage. I get it's offensive, but hey, in many ways, it's also a compliment. They trying to be like us.
Well, let me say this. I think when it's just like the N-word. If we say it, then to me, other folks are going to think it's okay for them to say it.
Yes.
If we're doing blackface, then other folks is going to think that it's okay for them to do blackface.
I don't think we
I
can
just
stop
think
it
the
either
whole
way.
concept of somebody black doing blackface
I think
is
we're
hysterical.
too offensive. I think we're too sensitive as a people, and we have to, in essence, you know, become a little more tougher skin and not get so upset when people are really trying to be like us.
Well, we were just talking about, you talked about Asian people that were doing blackface.
I didn't have a problem with it.
Really?
Didn't have a problem with it. I mean,
Wow.
because at the end of the day, it doesn't impact me, and more importantly, they're going to do what they want to do anyway.
Doesn't mean it's acceptable to you.
It's not acceptable. I just think it's really
So you just
stupid
allow
and
it
kind
to
of funny.
happen. Okay. But let me say this. I read an article where, what's his name, Drake or whatever, that what he was doing, it represented how African Americans were portrayed in entertainment with regards to blackface. And he was trying to make a point, from my understanding. So I think that, no, I still think it's unacceptable to do blackface. I mean, whether you're black, white, purple, or green, Asian, or whatever. To me, from what it represented, white folks, doing blackface and acting like a buffoon, stereotyping us as buffoons, then I have a problem with that.
You know, on these college campuses, oftentimes you see these white fraternities, do this quite frequently. They're going to try to be a rapper. They go out for Halloween. They got blackface on. It's like a costume to them. They don't see it as offensive. Now, can it be perceived as offensive? Clearly, yes, without a shadow of a doubt. But my point is, they have been doing this for I don't know how long, and they're going to continue to do it.
Right.
Do I
They
think
may
it's
continue,
appropriate
but
or
I think you
acceptable?
still
No, I
have
do
to
not, but I'm not
stand-
offended by it.
You still have to say something or allow it or make it known that it's unacceptable. That's what I'm
So
saying.
how do you say something? You suggest we make a law? I mean, how can you control that?
A black person in blackface.
Well, if you know that whatever the detergent we were talking about, and it showed somewhat of a simulation of a blackface similar to black and white.
It was a black guy that had some white splotches on his face.
Right. Then you don't support whatever that detergent or whatever that product is. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, then how about this? Remember a few months ago, the H&M commercial, in which the African-American boy was in a little monkey outfit. The African-American mother...
in a monkey outfit. He was wearing a hoodie that said, the baddest monkey or the top monkey in the jungle.
But the fact of the matter is the mother who was present did not have an issue with it. Thought everyone was overreacting. She was not offended. She was okay. She thought her son looked okay. She liked it. She liked the ad. She liked the commercial. However, we are up in arms. We're going to boycott H&M, yada, 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 yada. So was she wrong for her opinion, her stance?
Well, she should be ignorant.
Right. I look, and as far as she's concerned.
So you think she was ignorant because she wasn't offended?
No, my thing is this. She's getting a paycheck. She's probably like, okay, some folks will sell their soul for whatever the case may be. Overall, for us, I think, to me, I am offended by that. Because when we're stereotyped, we got to get past these stereotypes. And we're talking about assimilating and that sort of thing.
But there were other kids who had the same sweatshirt on. It just so happened.
Were they black?
Okay, but it just so happened they did not choose that particular commercial.
Were they black?
Okay. One was Asian, one was a white boy.
Okay.
And
either one of them.
And I understand that. All I'm saying is that at what point are we going to stop being so? And why are we so sensitive all of a sudden? What's happening to us as a people that we feel like we have to be the social police on every single thing that happens?
I'll tell you exactly why. For a long time, just blatant episodes of stereotyping and just straight racism were acceptable. You couldn't say nothing.
Okay.
Now you can say nothing and not get killed for saying something.
Okay.
There you go.
And
so
this is my comeback in that.
Maybe a situation of overcompensating based on past inabilities.
But we're not upset when we see our African American men walk around with their pants pulled down.
Oh, I'm not happy about that
We say nothing when our teenagers are dropping out of schools. I was in a local school here. You would thought everybody was outside. It was the middle of the day. The bell rang. No one went to class. I'm in the class trying to do a presentation with the school. Everyone's out in the hallways coming into the classroom. Yeah, who they in right there? And teacher didn't say anything. Security didn't say anything. No one's up in arms about that. But yeah, we are up in arms.
Wrong. It's just as wrong.
Right.
It is.
And so my thing is, why not focus on these things which we can correct and the behaviors we can correct and change versus getting so caught up in things we can't change or correct?
Both. I think we need to address both.
What about Medea?
What about Medea? Do you watch Tyler Perry?
No.
Yes, I do. I do watch Tyler Perry.
Are you offended by that?
I'm not offended by it.
Great question, Kevin, by the way.
I'm not offended by it for the mere fact that that's art. That's totally different. That's
and I'm offended by that.
Blackface.
I'm offended by that. I'm offended by Medea.
And then we talk about, I watched Robin Williams with, I can't remember the female that he plays in one of the movies.
Miss Doubtfire.
Yeah, I'm not offended by that. That's art. That's TV.
See, I'm upset because I think that's the feminization of African American men. It's also the feminization of males, heterosexual male, and those are the things that starts to, all of a sudden now, if my sons are not acting a certain way. Yes, I am very serious. I think this country is really going to a movement of trying to defeminize or effeminate men, in particular African American men. And this is something that one of my favorite comedians talking about.
And who's that?
You know the bald head guy with the muscle.
Why can't you come up with his name?
Who was on Netflix?
Favorite?
Anyway, let him finish making this point. Go ahead.
No, my point is we don't want to talk about that, but it's happening.
Mm-hmm.
It's happening.
And for me, I saw that interview too.
So, and for me as African American male, I am mindful of that. Going back to Flip Wilson, when Flip Wilson did Geraldine.
Right.
So why is it the African American man has to dress like
that's art.
But
that is
art. It ain't every.
And so it's blackface.
That's art. And no, it's not blackface, because when blackface means that when white folks would actually stereotype us in a buffoon sort of manner. Yeah, it is a lot deeper than that. Yeah, you're right. It is a lot deeper than that.
Somebody really black be on the thing, so the
right.
white boy
That's exactly what it is. It's a lot deeper than that. So that's what I'm talking about, and that's why I do not consider Medea blackface. That's just comedy. That's just like when you watch comedy on the stage.
It's not comedic to me.
Okay, maybe it's not funny to you. Okay, that's
fine.
Well, let me
blackface is not funny to me. First of all, it's not funny.
Okay.
I'm just not offended by it.
Okay.
Let me ask you this question, Tanya. Okay, between Medea and Felicia Rashad
Okay,
playing.
but you're going to have to hold it because we got to go to Black Talk Commentary. Our friend Scotty Reed. Be right back. Take a listen.
Never be afraid to love. Never be afraid to just be. Cast away the chains of doubt. Have the courage to be free. Don't cloud your eyes with others' lies. See only what you want to see. Duplicate this simple truth. Have the courage to be free. Open your eyes, you can fly. Open your eyes, you can fly. You can fly. You can fly. Never be afraid to love.
The Tanya Free and Friends Talk Show is a presentation of Freedom Marketing Incorporated. All rights reserved. Views and comments expressed are not necessarily the views of the host and or this station.
Courage to be free. Don't cloud your eyes with others' lies. See only what you want to see. Just duplicate this simple truth and have the courage to be free. Open your eyes, you can fly. Open your eyes, you can fly. You can fly. You can
After Donald Trump met with Kim Jong-un, the leader of North Korea and Singapore, to jumpstart a peace process between the two nuclear-armed nations, reactions to the historic meeting were mixed and fell along partisan lines. Those who criticized Barack Obama for starting an initiative to normalize relations with Cuba displayed a bit of hypocrisy as they applauded Trump's meeting with Kim Jong-un, and those who applauded Obama for his actions were quick to criticize Trump for similar actions. Trump's American critics were often questioning North Korea's human rights record and if it should first agree to denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. Again, this is very hypocritical when the United States supports and arms despotic regimes in Saudi Arabia, Israel, and other countries in the Middle East. In fact, as Israel murders and maims thousands of unarmed protesters in the right to return marches that have taken place in Gaza, it was the United States ambassador who vetoed a UN resolution calling for an independent investigation into the killings and shootings. Furthermore, the United States does not and has never had a stellar human rights record when it comes to the treatment of Native Americans, Black Americans, and other non-white people in the nation. In fact, the United States still practices slavery through its prisons with the largest prison population in the world. Its police are regularly seen killing, beating, and otherwise abusing citizens, not to mention the abuse of children in many of the detention facilities. The UN just days ago cited the U.S. for separating children from their parents when they cross the border illegally. We could go on naming all the human rights abuses that occur in the United States, but the point is, people who live in glass houses should not throw stones, or as the scripture says, let him who is without sin cast the first stone. Apparently, American media punditry is full of hypocrites with a pocket full of rocks ready to throw.
This has been Scotty Reed of BTR News reporting. Support independent media today by giving a tax-deductible donation to the Black Talk Media Project, which has been providing public digital media since 2008.
Are you searching for the best in online black radio? Then go to blacktalkradionetwork.com, helping you filter through the noise. Real talk, black talk.
Have you checked out Tanya Free TV on Ustream? Watch our radio broadcast live and catch up on past video podcasts. Download the app or go to ustream.tv to follow Tanya Free and Friends. Stay in touch with us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, or text the word Tanya to 63975. Join the conversation. Tanya Free and Friends, on air, online, on point. Join the conversation. Phone lines are open right now at area code 804-321-1010 in Central Virginia and 844-321-1010 coast to coast.
Okay, we were talking about blackface, and that topic came from Henry. Thank you, Henry, for that. And whether or not it should be allowed. But we got to talking about far as Tyler Perry playing Medea, and I said I watched Tyler Perry. I like Tyler Perry. It's one thing if that's all he did, but he does other type of movies and shows and that sort of thing where he plays a strong male.
Now,
so I have no problem with Tyler Perry.
Now my question to you is this. Okay. Between Felicia Rashad's character in The Cosby Show and Medea, who would present a better depiction of a black woman?
You said Felicia Rashad and who?
Between Felicia Rashad's character on The Cosby Show, which was Claire Huxtable.
Right.
Microphone, good brother. Pull that microphone back so we can hear you.
I'm sorry.
Okay, and who else?
Between Claire Huxtable, played by Felicia Rashad, and Medea, played by Tyler Perry, which character is a more positive depiction of a
Florida Evans?
of a black woman period?
Florida Evans. Oh, Lona.
Florida Evans wasn't a part of the choice.
Oh, my bad. Okay, I was just
Felicia
with
Rashad
Lona.
in the character she plays
Right.
on Cosby, of
Right.
course.
The issue I have with Tyler Perry is that Medea's character is more perpetuating stereotypes than it is denouncing them.
Okay,
That's a good point.
that's a good point.
That's the point I was trying to
right.
make.
But I look at it as comedy. I guess that's why. And the same thing with Robin
Sister,
Gibbons.
some things
and
said in
Flip.
jest are oftentimes
okay,
meant in earnest.
we agree to disagree on that one. Okay, all right, we agree to disagree on that one.
That was code
and we were
switching.
talking about something. Yeah, that was code switching,
Like
right? We were talking about something during the break. I want to talk about. Go back to this weekend is Father's Day, and happy Father's Day to all the fathers.
Thank
Happy
you.
Father's Day.
They don't acknowledge us until a few days before. But
Say
yes,
what?
thank you.
You didn't have much attention as a child, did you?
We were talking about
Nah, bro.
fathers, and you were talking about the school situation, and we were talking about single moms and that sort of thing. And we were saying as to, how women are the stronger. You said, I think one of you said stronger of the two. You thought?
No, I didn't say that. I said oftentimes I think that the African American woman They rear the African American male as well as the African American woman. And so if the African American woman begins to rear the African American male the way she does the African American girl or female, then you'll see equality based on behavior and relationship. That's just my perspective on it, based off of my upbringing and how I try to raise my children.
I think there's some truth in that. I really do. I think there's a lot of truth in that. Because I think that with moms and their sons, we tend to want to hold them close, really close to the vest, whereas women, raising girls, you want them to be strong and independent. So it's a little different. And I think we need to change that for the mere fact in order for we want our men to be strong as well. So in order for that to happen, we have to change, I guess, the manner in which we look at our young men.
I think it was Chris Rock who said that the African-American woman and the dog is loved unconditionally, but the man is loved based off of conditions.
What?
There's a lot of truth in that.
Say that again.
That we love men based off of conditions, based off what they do, don't do, bring to the table. But the woman and the dog is loved unconditionally.
Yeah, but I think but I think it starts before that. I think it starts with, like I said, with the mom, the mother, and the son. And if the mother teaches the son how to be responsible, accountable, day one, then you don't have to worry about it from a woman, for a husband or mate. You don't have to worry about it. He's going to do what he's supposed to do.
But first she has to know what all of that is. I think there's a problem in our society with a lot of mothers, especially those that are products of children, raising children, and not having support systems. I don't know that people know how to do that.
Something you were just saying about how the relationship between the son and the mother. There was a book. I don't know if it was a book written or if it was an essay. It was called "How to Make a Slave," and they would use the mother to reinforce those rules and conditions. It may have been.
It was religion. How to Make a Slave. Yeah.
In order to impress those rules and protocols onto the sons, so in that way they would have to use one example of one person one time. The mother would then reinforce, yes, in order for my son and I have to go through that, I've got to make sure he knows X, Y, and Z. I've got to discipline so he does not get killed.
Well, that we're still doing that now today with talking to our sons as to how to keep them alive from being shot in the street by a policeman. It's the same thing.
Right.
That's exactly what that is. And the question is, how do we get beyond that from the mere fact that we shouldn't have to live life in a manner where we are not sure or we're afraid that our son may not come back home.
Oftentimes I think about, I think sometimes with my son, a friend of mine had his son committed suicide, and so he said he had blamed his wife for a long time. They've been married for 42 years and still are married for 42 years. He said because oftentimes he was trying to raise or teach his son to be strong, his wife would oftentimes intervene and said, "You're too hard on him."
Yeah,
and he said so when life got hard, his son took the punk way out instead of hanging in there. So he left his wife and his 3 boys behind for him to raise. And he said he was angry at his wife for always trying to cater and not give their son the proper faculties.
Right.
Yeah, and that's what she blamed. That's what he said. Of course, he evolved out of that, but he said oftentimes he'd look at the African American boys who are either taking their life or taking another kid's life, and wonder if there's a man there to say, "Hey, you need to value your life. You need to toughen up and learn not to throw these temper tantrums to get what you want, but more importantly, learn to realize you can't always have what you want. You got to learn to live off what you need." And so I think oftentimes with African American males, we give them too much. And we give them too much room, we give them too much responsibility, and they can't handle the pressure, and it creates trauma in their life.
I don't know if I agree with all of that. I think that
we don't allow our boys to be boys. We want them to be men. It goes by the name, "Hey man, hey little man." I mean, he's 2 years old, and we call him little man. So psychologically and subconsciously, we're always saying that you're a man. As I say to my son, "You are not a man.
Right.
You're not a man. You're a boy until you get your own."
Yeah.
And when the man leaves the house, they'll tell a child, "You're the man of the
house."
house.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's 7 years old, right?
Exactly. I agree with that 100%. So we have to be real
careful.
careful.
And when I think about you talking about the strong woman your mother was and the reason that you're the wonderful person you are today, I think about a situation where I know this gentleman who is almost 60 years old. he grew up in this situation with a single parent. I think his mom had 2 children. As an adolescent, she ended up having 5 children by 5 different men. To this day, he doesn't know who his father was. She never told him. It's probably because she didn't know who his father was. And he went through high school, went to college one year, decided it wasn't from him. Has had some good jobs that have made us as African Americans middle class, but quit those jobs. And to this day, he talks about not having direction by a man.
And how old is he?
Almost 60.
Oh, wow.
And I said, at some point, no matter what our circumstances were like as a child, as an adult, we're all responsible for our behavior.
Right.
You're almost 60 years old and talking about,
let that go.
You didn't have a father, you didn't have any direction. And I'm going to tell you, when he said to me, do you have siblings? And I said, yes, I have 2 older sisters. He said, are they by the same father?
Oh, my.
Now, that blew me away, because I'm like, do people ask that question now? And he said, well, there's 5 of us, and we all have different fathers.
It's always amazing when I go into prisons and you talk to these prisoners. They always blame the father. My daddy wasn't there, or my daddy did this. And oftentimes I want to say, what did your mama do? So if you're blaming your dad for everything and you got in prison, and your dad wasn't in your life, then what did your mama do? So does she bear any responsibility for you being where you are?
Right.
So why are you so quick to blame the daddy for this, but you stayed with your mom? My mom, I was more afraid of my mother than I was of police. So I don't care what I did.
And that's what we're missing.
Oh.
Yes.
That's what we're missing. We're missing parents or parent. And let me say this. A parent doesn't have to be the person that birthed you.
Right.
Because you can have someone in your life
That's
who's strong enough to guide you, to mentor you, and to bring you along. I have several aunts. I have both my parents, but I have several aunts that were strong. And I had one aunt, she wasn't big as a penny, but she would give you, oh my goodness, lay you out, could cuss like no other, and then ain't had no problem, get you straight, and you knew what she meant, and she will always, the lessons that she was trying to teach me will always be with me, and I have another aunt that was more spiritual, so I have several mentors in my family, and all of us have a mentor, a coach, or somebody that tries to lead us and guide us, and that's the thing, you have different people that make an impression on you. So.
Well, I grew up in a neighborhood where everybody took care of everybody's children. If you were doing something wrong, Miss Mary was going to correct you, and then she was going to let you, tell your parents. And I'm like, just kill me now.
Right. And
just kill me now. And it was okay, but now people don't want you to correct their children. They don't want you to say, they hardly want you to encourage their children.
Right.
And I worked in child welfare for a very long time. So, I've seen a lot.
Yeah. And
I've seen a lot, but getting back to fathers, even when you talk about a father in prison, he has some value. If it's nothing else, he can talk to those children about not doing what he did.
Exactly. I agree with you 100%, and that's what I mean. And you may have an aunt, you may have a brother or a sister, somebody to help bring you along, and that means a whole lot. It means a whole lot. Let me read this.
Let me say this. My best friend's mom became a single parent. I remember that we were about 6. She has a brother that's a little younger than we are. She took care of those children. She had the support of her mother. Sounds like my girlfriend's mom. Well, she was one of my role models when I became a single parent. But I remember her neighbor said to her, oh, your son is going to be gay. Because she was raising.
What was he or is he?
Absolutely not.
So go back and punch him in the mouth and say, hey, I ain't gay.
He is an excellent citizen, excellent father, just a wonderful person. She did an excellent job, with all of her children as a single parent. And sometimes I would look back and say, I had 2 parents. I wasn't exposed to that. I didn't, you know.
Right.
But
right.
when I became a single parent, her mother was definitely one of my sheroes. And I said, if she could do it with 3, I certainly can do it with
Right.
1.
We need a lot of support. Let me read Jason says, we imitate white folks and cops who have no respect for us. Comments?
Van, can you interpret that?
I was about to ask you to do the same thing. Jason says we imitate white folks and cops have no respect for us.
So
I don't.
What does it mean by imitate?
I don't know.
Because he understands code switching. I mean, I don't agree with that.
I merely have a BS in code switching. I didn't quite get it.
You know why? Did you know why he said that to you? You know why Dr. Henderson threw that to you?
No, Tanya, tell me. Please, enlighten a brother. Acknowledge me, oh sister.
Oh, God.
Because they have no respect.
Yeah, I disagree with that.
Yeah, I disagree with that, too.
Jason, can you call in and explain what it is that you were trying to say?
804-321-1010 or 844-321-1010.
And ask Van to interpret that.
I don't get it. We imitate white folks. And
all right, let's move to the next issue.
What, like have good credit?
Brent asked the question as to whether or not it was necessary for us to have our own space where we can consciously be in a comfort zone. So, do you
like your own home, not live with your mama?
No, that's like we have our own little club or own little, we have various clubs and everything. And I know I've got, various clubs, and they're not saying that whites only, but it's all whites.
Well,
or a church. Think about our churches.
Fraternities, sororities, Masons. I mean,
yeah.
Every human group has their own little space, and
But
is that not right?
Is that racism?
When I said that
No.
about black space, and I read a little bit about that, I'm like, okay, and it was talking about these college students saying we want our own space on colleges so we can talk with our own groups. I think as African Americans, we've always found our own space within our communities and our churches, but you talk about, okay, we wanted to be accepted at these predominantly white universities, and you didn't want to be separated in any way, but now you're saying...
Oh, we're going to take a break. Hold that thought. We'll be right back.
The Tanya Free and Friends Talk Show is sponsored in part by
Hong Kong Custom Tailors is celebrating 50 years in Richmond. Visit their brand new expanded showroom, 1839 West Broad. Custom ready-to-measure suits for less than authorized suits at other retailers. Custom monogrammed shirts, pants, sports coats, overcoats, designer shoes, headwear, women's fashions, expert alterations, and more. All first-time shoppers will get a 10% discount just by saying Tanya Free sent you. Hong Kong Custom Tailors, 1839 West Broad, 359-5441.
There's so many ways to listen to Peachtree Radio FM. Go to rsgame.org, download the RS Game web client while playing your game. Press Control B and arrow down to Peachtree Radio FM. Also, dial the telephone number 641-552-5194. Download the Peachtree Radio FM app from the App Store and Google Play Store. Listen at Peachtree Radio FM on TuneIn Radio, iBlink Radio, and the new website, PeachtreeRadioFM.net. There's so many ways to listen to Peachtree Radio FM. Well, some listen to remember and some listen to forget.
The Tanya Free and Friends Talk Show is sponsored in part by
Furniture at the Venus. Hi, I'm Chocolate Chip, and your home is the place that says the most about who you are. Furniture at the Venus has a huge selection of styles that make a statement. Visit our showroom at 1420 Hull Street, Suite A, and check out our full line of dining room sets, living rooms, and bedroom sets, and more. Be sure to ask about our weekly Tanya Free and Friends specials on everything in the store, including king and queen mattresses, sets to fit any budget. With new arrivals daily, let Charles and Nancy Shaw show you their complete line of home furnishings and accessories. Give them a call at 804-232-3500. That's 804-232-3500. That's Furniture at the Venus, 1420 Hull Street, in the heart of Southside Richmond.
Join the conversation. Phone lines are open right now at area code 804-321-1010 in Central Virginia and 844-321-1010 coast to coast.
We're coming back from today's jazz break. I'm just speaking by Kenny Bryan Quartet, sponsored by Hong Kong Tailors in Richmond. And who was making a point with regards to us having our own space? I think you were, Frida.
Well, I guess I'm concerned that people are saying that on college campuses and different places they need their own space, black-only space, so that I guess they can have their conversations feel the way that they want to do, feel and express their emotions about the things that are going on in the world. I say that we have a lot of spaces and we create them on their own. I just don't agree with you're saying you wanted to go to these universities and now you're saying, well, I don't really feel like I can really be me, so you all need to set aside some space for us, when in fact,
what does that mean?
A lot of spaces.
What does it mean to you need to set aside a space for me or for us?
Well, I just glazed over the article, and they're just talking about things that we deal with as blacks or African Americans, if you will, and you just don't feel like you can be open and express yourself and feel you're in a diverse environment. And we all know that
sounds like some
diversity
insecurities on somebody's part, though.
When I think of space, I think of us having whatever, organization that, yes, is African American. And I personally don't think it should exclude other folks if they want to be a part of it. But it's something that, they may not be familiar with, because once you start to segregate it and saying black only, then you open up the window for folks to start saying other ethnicity only or race only, that sort of thing. And I don't want to ever be excluded from. I mean, we've already come hopefully past that, where it used to be white only. I don't want to see those kind of signs. No, I don't. No, we can have space, but that's not saying other folks, if they feel comfortable with us and we can still do what we do and speak the way we speak, and they don't have a problem with it, what up? Hey, that's the way we speaking in this space.
And I think often, I agree with you on that, Tanya, because I think that oftentimes when these students are asking for that, they wasn't raised in the era in which they saw white, colored only. And so they don't realize the danger of what they're saying and what they're asking for, because in all honesty, you can have your own space. That's why you have a dorm room. And so you can go outside. I mean, so you don't necessarily need your space where it's just for black people.
Well, but you can have your own space, and you're not going to assimilate to whatever it is you normally assimilate to. So have your own space, and we're going to have soul food and do all the things that we normally do in our space. It's not going to be how we would normally conduct or how we would normally be if we weren't. You see what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
That makes sense. I agree with
you.
So
that's where when I think of space, opposed to a lot of people want to say have my own space, meaning only black only. We don't want to go there. We don't want to go there.
I agree, and a part of that is we don't know our own history.
True.
But what about the transgender gentleman who just graduated from Spelman College? There was an African American male who.
What about it?
I mean, I'm saying he just graduated from Spelman, which is a historically women's university.
Right.
So I mean, I don't have an issue with it.
I don't either.
But some people were saying, that hey, this school is just for African American women. He could have went to Morehouse, which is for African American males.
Well, considering that he's female, why would you exclude him?
But he's male who became a female.
Okay, so like I said, female.
Did he have the operation?
I don't know. Good question.
Female. If he considers himself female, he's female, then let him go to the school. End of story.
And now they're asking people, what pronoun do you identify with?
Right.
Drops the mic and depart.
Let me go to line one. Hi, Scotty. How are you, Fred?
Hey, I'm doing the best I can. How is Tanya Free and friends?
We are good. We are good.
I just wanted to call in and express my solidarity with you all on this Black Spaces. I'm sorry I don't recall the other woman who is with you.
Frida.
What's her name?
Frida
made an excellent point that I had never even thought of. Why are you on a white-dominated campus? You knew this was historically a white school, the Princetons and the Harvards and all this and that, and then you talking about, we need our own black space, blacks only on campus. When you could have went to a HBCU, you could have went to Howard University if you was concerned about being in a culturally safe space, because I think that's what they're really talking about, is I want to be around people like me so I can feel comfortable or whatnot. Well, like she said, you knew that when you went to that college that it was a predominantly white college. And then, at the same time, we got to recognize that there are laws against discrimination based on race, sex, gender, national origin. That's why you find white people at HBCUs.
On scholarship, on a minority scholarship,
and free.
On a minority scholarship,
yes,
that's true.
Yeah, and then I would say, now I don't know that much about Spelman, whether it's a private university,
it's private.
or if it's okay, so it's not receiving any kind of federal funding. because if they receiving federal funding, a male could apply to that college and would have a lawsuit if they denied him based on his gender. That's what the 1964 Civil Rights Act or law was about. Well, it's preventing discrimination. Now, in terms of do we have our own spaces? Yeah, we have our own spaces. But like you all have said, it's up to us to create our own spaces. When I was on a white-owned platform for radio, digital radio, and podcasting, some of the staff there didn't like some of the comments, or some of the topics that Black Talk Radio would talk about.
Right.
So I created a safe space called Black Talk Radio Network for Black people. Do I discriminate? No, I don't discriminate against anyone based on any other things that's in violation of the federal laws.
Hey, Scotty, can I ask you a question?
Nonprofit.
Can I ask you a question, Scotty? No, there's a huge issue with Trump blocking individuals on his Twitter account because they disagree with him. So on your Black Talk Radio, if someone calls in who's not of African American descent, do you block them in their comments?
No.
Okay.
Why would you?
No.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. And that's what I'm saying.
Right. I wouldn't.
Scotty, you have your own space and your space for us, but you still allow other folks to call in. And I have no problem with that.
I've actually had white hosts in the past. They hired Black Talk Media Project to produce their online radio show because they were on a terrestrial station in Greenville, South Carolina, but they needed a presence, and they hired us.
Right.
And these were progressives. And they're no longer with us, and they was only with us for about 6 months. But I'm prohibited by law from discriminating. If I'm going to bar you from my platform, it's because of your views. It's because I don't feel like what you're talking about is conducive to my audience. You know, you're not going to come on here and be putting down black folks because you think you all Indian or Native, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Because we got these black folks that wanna denigrate us for linking ourselves or recognizing our African heritage. I have kicked those people off of Black Talk Radio Network because, again, if you don't go by the label black, and it's just a label that we use to identify ourselves, and if you don't agree, if you're not classifying yourself as black and you're classifying yourself as quote-unquote indigenous, then why you come to Black Talk Radio?
Right.
You know?
Absolutely.
So I kicked them off.
Right.
You know?
Well,
I just
agree
wanted
with
to call and agree with you all sentiments on that topic.
Scotty, tell everybody this is your show, friend.
Please listen to New Abolitionist Radio tonight, every Wednesday night, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time on Black Talk Radio Network. Y'all know Juneteenth celebrations is coming up.
Yes.
I'm going to try to go to some Juneteenth celebrations and pass out some copies of the 13th Amendment. So, yes, we should celebrate the victims of slavery who were emancipated. But at the same time, we got to recognize slavery was never abolished. It's in the 13th Amendment. That's what we talk about every week on New Abolitionist Radio. You all have a blessed day.
You too, friend. Thank you. Keep up the fight. Let me ask this question with regards to spacing. Oh, we got comments? Go ahead, read the comments.
And these comments are on spaces. Keith Thornton says they are an escape from interracial society. And Shelton Keith replied to that, then there's nothing wrong with white-only spaces. Keith Thornton says, I have no time for silliness. Baya Kambui, no crime in it. White-only spaces have been around for years. We call them Starbucks. Certain Birmingham, Alabama public schools and many Silicon Valley companies. Blacks-only spaces like HBCUs are open to everyone, but many white folks don't roll up.
Because they don't know they can get a minority
Barry
scholarship.
Joyner says, following the example previously said that allow one segment of society to advance economically as done, I would have to say no. Rovan Brooks, our enemies will take it as such. White people, for example, cannot stand not be included in RS. Frazier, Florida bail bonds, well, let's be real.
if we something white only, what comes to mind? Segregation is always wrong, or it's never wrong.
I agree with that 100%. Either segregation is wrong or it isn't. So we should never. There's nothing wrong with having our space. That's fine with that. I'm absolutely comfortable with that. And we should. But when we start to have our space and we're saying we're the only ones, and someone else wants to join, we don't allow it because of race or ethnicity, or that's a problem. I think that's a real problem. We do not want to go there. As far as the way I feel about it.
I went to a predominantly white university. Of course, we've created our own space. It may have been a hallway, but we created our own space. That's where we met to get support and whatever we need.
Yeah, and that's where it is now in our communities, in our churches, especially in our churches.
Where did this topic come from?
Who sent me that? I think it was Brent that sent me that. We have a lot of our listeners now that are sending us topics, things they want to talk about. And I'm appreciative because a lot of things that they're sending me is very new, and I'm like, wow, that code switch I had never heard before and hadn't thought about spacing before. So, yeah, what's the problem? You have a problem with what we're talking about?
I don't really have a problem with. It's just the whole thought of the topic about spaces.
You don't think that we a lot of times feel comfortable when we're in our own space?
No, that's not what I'm saying at all.
Okay, what are you saying then? Make it plain.
When you want to when you go to a place and you know what you're walking into, now you want to, what are you thinking about?
Well,
you wanted. Here's what happened.
I think
I want to have that name on my
diploma. I think spacing and code switching are connected.
Yeah, without a doubt, because you are kind of assimilating.
Right, exactly. Sometimes, do you ever feel like, okay, I don't feel like, having to assimilate with whatever the atmosphere may be, and you just want to just be you. And sometimes you just want to be around a group of people where you could just be you, and that's fine and dandy. What I'm saying is,
I'm gregarious. My head is like I can talk and conversate and hang out with whomever.
I understand that, but sometimes do you feel like, okay, I don't feel like assimilating? Do you feel like that sometimes?
I don't know. I never even thought about it that way.
That's what we're talking about. Okay, give it some thought, and you can comment after we come back from the break. Okay. We'll take a break and be right back.
I feel like it.
Seems like yesterday we used to rock the show. I laced the track, you locked the flow. So far from hanging on the block for dough. Notorious, they got to know that life ain't always what it seemed to be. Words can't express what you mean to me. Even though you're gone, we still a team. Through your family, I'll fulfill your dreams. In the future, can't wait to see if you open up the gates for me. Reminisce sometime, the night they took my friend. Try to black it out, but it plays again. When it's real, feeling's hard to conceal. Can't imagine all the pain I feel. Give anything to hear half your breath. I know you're still living your life after death.
Every move I make, every single day, every time I pray, I'll be missing you. Thinking of the day when you went away. What a life to take, what a bond to break. I'll be missing you.
It's kinda hard with you not around. Know you in heaven smiling down, watching us while we pray for you. Every day we pray for you, till the day we meet again. In my heart is where I keep you, friend. Memories give me the strength I need to proceed, strength I need to believe. My thoughts big, I just can't define. Wish I could turn back the hands of time. Us in the six, shop for new clothes and kicks. You and me taking flicks, making hits, stages they receive you on. Still can't believe you're gone. Give anything to hear half your breath. I know you're still living your life after death.
The Tanya Free and Friends Talk Show is sponsored in part by
Mary Marketing Global.
You know those guys over at Marion Marketing Global? They can do everything from billboards to bus signs. Marion Marketing Global, changing the world and expanding your brand every day, each day. Marion Marketing Global, 804-938-5218. Check us out on the web at marionmarketingglobal.com.
The Tanya Free and Friends Talk Show is sponsored in part by
Anthony Gibson, Fast Advance Funding, 215-642-0686. This is Tanya Free. Summer can be a difficult time for families of youth with behavior problems. Many kids with behavior problems just cannot make it in a traditional daycare or summer camp. But there is an option. Call my friends over at the Metropolitan Day School today, 804-321-2595, to see if your elementary or middle school age child is eligible. Breakfast, lunch, and transportation provided. Limited slots. First come, first serve. Call Miss Thomas today, 804-321-2595. The Metropolitan Day School, where Eagles soar.
Join the conversation. Phone lines are open right now at area code 804-321-1010 in Central Virginia and 844-321-1010 coast to coast.
Before we shift gears to talk about, Jason wanted us to talk about the homicide with regards to the naked man individual that was killed on 95 here in Richmond. Somebody said they code switch at a Christmas party. Let's go to what Jason was saying. Jason says, "Why aren't we upset about the naked brother killed by cops in our hometown?" We are, anytime anyone is killed by a police officer or killed, period, we're upset about it. I will say that this particular situation, being here in Richmond, it made me see things different from a different perspective.
Mail just ran into 95 and got struck. Can I get news ASAP? Mail is naked on 95.
It's a different feeling for the fact that it's right here. And I guess because it's which to me seems to be a very
you're talking about 95 north, 64 west.
That's just to me. And then the other thing is, had the officer been white, I don't know, we would have been more upset, calling it racial discrimination. What do you all think? And then the other thing was, on the other side of the track, why was lethal force used if they used a taser? And did he have a weapon? I don't understand. There's a lot of questions that I have still with regards to this whole thing.
And another question I'm about to ask is was the taser functioning before he left to go on duty? I haven't seen the video, so I don't know how it all went down.
Well, he said he did use the taser.
They did use the taser. I saw that. They used the taser.
It didn't do anything.
But why did they shoot him if he wasn't armed? I guess that's the question.
They don't want to get their behind whipped, apparently.
Well, I think.
Or get into a fight.
I think sometimes it's about self-preservation, and it was obviously that this man was mentally unstable, and he did threaten the police, and you know, he got pretty close to his space. And,
Right.
You know, and I think police officers are running scared.
Well, let me ask this question. I guess the question
And
I
they
asked.
overreact.
I guess the
What,
question I
getting a
asked. One of the
prosecution for killing
questions.
somebody?
One of the questions I have is this: you said he was getting into his space. Does that give him grounds in which to pull his weapon and gun down someone, or to shoot someone? I'm not gonna say gun down. Shoot someone at that point if he gets too close, opposed to trying to take them down.
No, it absolutely does not. But, you know, that goes back to training and a lot of things. And, you know, I wasn't in that police officer's head. You know, it was obvious when I heard the story and it was talking about a naked man. You know, it's like something is going on with this person mentally. You know, this is not, you know, and although he did approach him and he threatened him and those kinds of things, and I think he shot him twice. And I thought if it came to the point that you had to shoot somebody, that you tried to shoot him for minimal.
Incapacitate him.
So, and I think, was he shot in his abdomen twice?
I can't remember where the places were. I don't know where the places were. But I guess, I don't know, this one I'm going to have to go do some research on, because I was bothered on both sides. I was bothered on both sides. That one, the individual wasn't armed. Then two, why did you have to kill him? That's those two things. And the only thing I was thinking that what is the rule as to if the person was getting too close in his space, and then there was more than one officer on the scene. I thought I saw more than one officer. I gotta go back and look at the video again.
Yeah, I don't remember, but it seems like that person came behind him. But, you know, it's about training and what type of psychological evaluations are these people? Who are these police officers that we are hiring?
Well, let me say this. I guess I was watching a cop show the other night, and I honestly took on the role of the officer. And honestly, when I took on the role of the officer, I see how he did what he did, and the person he killed, because one, is your life or their life. And
was it really a situation like that, though?
This particular situation, putting all the pieces together, I can see, okay, it wasn't that type of situation, but I can see how you can cross the line too. I hate to say that, but looking at this particular show, I was like, oh my goodness. And thinking about it in real life, when you have officers that have been in law enforcement for a long time, it's the type of situation that you get burnt out quickly, I feel. And then also too, training is a big part of it. And then the other part of it is what is actually, your mind gets set on that certain person that you encounter. As far as you're concerned, they're going down regardless. And those are the kinds of things I think that needs to be addressed. Just because somebody's black doesn't mean that you got to take their life. You know, and because if you're trained to shoot to kill, we got to do some retraining on those type of situations. You know, but this particular cop show, I was like, wow, seeing the other side of the track. And this wasn't this officer was not shooting a black person. This officer was just shooting a criminal, period. You know, and this criminal had killed lots of people. You know, and I basically, looking at this show, I was like, it was just like he was taking the law into his own hands. So, you know, if you get officers that are caught up in that manner, then it's probably time for them to retire.
Yeah, well, all you need is a high school diploma to be a cop.
We need some training to go along with that.
Absolutely.
You need more than just high school. They don't just, say you got a diploma, we're going to give you a gun.
Why do you think they don't?
They don't. Come on.
I mean, you obviously have to go through training and stuff, but but still.
It's a hard job. It really is. And
yes, and cops, a lot of times cops make the job harder than it needs to be.
Period.
Some, and there are some.
I didn't say all of them. I said some.
And there are some that probably should not be officers. I was,
of them.
yeah, and that's the key. The weeding process. Not everybody can be. I couldn't be an officer. I'm gonna tell you right now. Don't give me a gun. No.
So you can't be first lady or officer.
First lady, who knows? But
Hold on now.
No. Being an officer is a tough job. I mean,
I know that.
It really is.
But again, they know it's a difficult situation, without a doubt, and they have to encounter potentially life-threatening situations every day.
Police departments have to do a better job in weeding out persons that should and should not be police officers. That's what it boils down to, in my opinion.
If this guy really got tased and it didn't work, and there was more than one officer on the scene, did the other officer used his taser in the off chance that the first one didn't work? If that was the case and it still didn't work, lethal force should be the last alternative. Now I might have to get into a fight with this person, and if it gets out of control, I got a gun, plus I got a partner right there. So.
You know, I just can't remember. It seems like I remember somebody coming up shortly thereafter saying, "Did you tase him?" And he said, "Yeah," but he had also tased him, and he had already shot him too. So
I go back and look at the tape because, and we'll talk about it again on next week.
And absolutely, we're upset about it.
Oh yeah, no question about that. And I guess also too. Probably had this been someplace else, not knowing the police chief, I probably would have been like, oh, the officer, I would have been pointing a finger at the officer. But knowing Police Chief Durham, who is, seemed to be very, very much in the community, and I know in some of the Richmond police officers, very kind and in the community, it sort of make it a little hard to say, but like I said, you may have one or two that are bad. Not saying that they're not.
The chief is new. He didn't bring all new cops with him.
Right, I understand that. But he is trying to work with what he has and do the right thing. That's the bottom line. He's trying to do the right thing.
But then ultimately
that's
the
what
question
make it
then
difficult
becomes,
that,
why have the cops always been doing the right thing?
What?
From day, so then that brings in the question of why haven't the cops been always doing the right thing?
Well, you can't go back to
one?
what they should have been doing to what they're doing now.
Yeah, okay.
If he's trying to make sure that they're doing the right thing now.
But the question is, why haven't they not been all along anyway? You're supposed to be a cop.
Well, I agree with that. I agree with that 100%. But knowing that he is running the police department in a manner that it should be, that he wants to hold the officers accountable to do the right thing.
What was the previous chief's attitude?
I can't even remember who the previous chief was. Who was it? Do you know?
I have no idea.
Okay, then why are we having this conversation?
Because that is the legacy of the previous guy. Since you want to talk about this guy as being,
I'm holding this police chief accountable.
The one before him was about community policing as well. I just can't think of his name.
Did he retire? Did he go on to?
Look, no. Come on, Ben. We're talking about police.
Came
Chief Durham, and what I see, he is very community oriented.
Like the last.
And I believe that he is truly trying to make sure the police department is doing the right thing. That's my point.
I got you.
I can't think of the one, but the people in Richmond, the one before, they really liked him. They were really upset.
And I think they like this
one
too.
They do, because he was about community policing.
Right.
But he came under the Wild administration, and then the Jones administration inherited, who I just can't think of his name. I can see his face. And then the Jones administration got rid of him, I think, at the end, and that's when Durham came.
Well, we'll talk about it some more next week. We'll actually have the video and everything. As always, I thank God, my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, for allowing us the opportunity to speak and hopefully heard. Thanks to our listening friends. Blessings to each and every one of you. Of course, thanks to Van, Frida, Dr. Henderson, Noah, Niles, Marcus, Sterling, Mr. Free. I'm Tanya Free. Until next time, be free. Remember to live life with a purpose.
I go work like a doctor. When I rock the mic, you got to like the way I operate. I make miracles happen just for rapping. I'm so lyrically potent, and I'm floating and exploding on the scene. Mean, I got the potential to make it go then chill. I got the credentials, that is the essential to make a rap essential. Then you know I will fulfill, make a couple of mil as I build a guild for all the rappers to skill and kill the weak rappers with no frill. Hang him in effigy, if he's a sucker, hang him to the left of me, cause my right hand man is my mic stand and the microphone that I own, and my game plan is keep it at a steady pace. Ain't no reason to rush, it ain't no race, I'ma hit the top just when I wanna, and it's a matter of time, and I'm gonna, cause I know when to. Go ahead, enter the classic Modi rap that sent you running around, holding your hand, asking your homeboy, yo man, you heard what he said? Another funky rhythm, look at your man and give him a high five, cause I'm live, running around with him, telling everybody hanging out on the block, it's time to wake up, check the clock. Punch it. I go to work. I go to work. I go to work. Like an architect, I build the rhymes sometimes and climb so erect. Skyscrapers look like atoms.
The Tanya Free and Friends Talk Show is a presentation of Freedom Marketing Incorporated. All rights reserved. Views and comments expressed are not necessarily the views of the host and or this station.
Phone daddy's home, so open the door.